And there's been this ridiculous discourse among Iranians for a long time about, well, we're moral, we're the Islamic Republic. We don't do what they do. And Iran, Russia, China, they always try to cleave to international law, the very same law that the West has completely ignored. That kind of good behavior at a time of such extreme bad behavior is not going to, stand them in good stead. So I think there's a lot to consider there. I don't know how many viewers, American viewers are even aware of that kind of development in Iran, of that kind of thinking and the new institutions that are sort of opening up right at the precipice of wartime, and that they have in their minds, Trump warned that this isn't going to be a few weeks war, right? He just said this week. The Iranians have never considered a few weeks war. They've always expected this to be a protracted war. Can the Americans handle a protracted war, not in their space, where their regional allies are unwilling to allow Americans to launch attacks from their territory, from U.S. bases, et cetera?
Yeah, great points, Charmaine. And I wanted to now pull up, as you were talking, it got me thinking about these drills that Iran just held. Here's a video. We don't have to watch it, but it can be playing as we're talking about it. So there's, Iran, as they were talking to the United States and Oman, were holding these drills. They closed the Strait of Hormuz for a period of hours. It seemed like a pretty stark message sent to the United States that this can happen. And they were utilizing their anti-ship missiles and other weapons that would be deployed, as you said, in terms of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's warning against these.
Hey, shalom, all praises, honor, glory goes to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Wadash. All right, double honors to the apostles, elder bishops, a great millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to you fellow brothers, pushing out this word in truth and sincerity. Shabbat coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Wadash. Shalom, shalom to all the believers out there fighting for their faith in these wicked, evil times. Okay, this is a lesson sparked by the recent events of Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz. Now, I didn't really, I was traveling today, so I didn't get to really see too much news. But what I'm seeing is that they're not, mainstream media is not really covering it, or maybe they are, maybe they're going to pick it up later. But Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz for a couple of hours as they were doing military drills with Russia and China, which is big, okay, which is super big, okay, it's unprecedented. And basically it was another provocation, another chess piece moved, another warning to the West that, hey, we can close this shit down. Now, 1/5 of all natural gas, oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, and it's right there, in control of Persia. But they let things flow. But at any given time, they can stop the flow of gasoline, which is going to put like a bottleneck on these world economies, because all these economies depend on each other, especially America. But we know ultimately that all this is happening to bring in the new system. Okay, the new system, the NWO. All right, but really it's the Most High moving all the chess pieces, all right, in prophecy, all right, to inevitably destroy America, all right, and set up the righteous. Who are the righteous? Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Christ. And starting with the 144,000, the prophets, all right, which we've been telling you these things. We've been saying war is inevitable with Iran. Now we understand, according to precepts, that Russia is going to be a guard unto Iran as well as those other nations, and they're all going to come together. We might get that. They're all going to come together and shoot missiles on Babylon the Great. But what I want to do is, we'll play a little bit more video here. I just wanted to get some highlights there. I want to get an article Iran closed Strait of Hormuz. Okay. AI overview. Iran has temporarily closed the Strait of Hormuz for live fire drills amid rising tensions with the U.S. This closure is significant as the strait is crucial shipping route for about 20% of the world's oil. And then you have also other, that's the main commodity, energy, that's being moved out of that strait, which is a very small, like a path of difficulty. Only so many things can go through at one time. It's not like a big open shipping lane. Okay. There's other goods that go through there, but the most important one is oil, and the world runs off of gasoline. Okay, so this is a really big deal. Okay, and it's only going to get worse before it gets worse. Okay, and why did they close it? For military drills. Why would they do that? Okay, let me get the book of Obadiah, because even the regional allies, I think he said it in this video. He said it in his video. I'm not sure we played it, but yeah, we might have played it. But basically, he said that, the other regional allies, like, Bahrain, the Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, all these Arab nations that are actual so-called allies with America. All right, they're not going to allow America. All right, we'll see. But it's seeming like they're not going to allow America to basically use their airspace to attack Iran, because that pulls them into a global conflict. And basically what's going to happen is all Esau's allies, they're going to turn their back on America. Okay? They're going to turn their back. Give me a second to sip some water. All right, they're going to turn their back on America, man. All right. So let me go into that scripture. This is Obadiah 1:7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. What we'll do is we'll get another translation too. We know what confederacy means, but basically allies. But let's go to another. Let's go to the NLT. All right. We'll just change it up a little bit. Switch it up. NLT. Obadiah 1:7. All your allies will turn against you. Okay, America has major allies in that region. Let's look. Who are America's allies in the Middle East? Let's look at that real quick before we continue. It's all going to fall. It's all their foreign policy, America's foreign policy. It's all going to crash down. All their tricks and all these different things. It's all going to fall apart. Okay, according to prophecy. Okay, nevertheless, World War III will not officially end, because it's already started. World War III has already started. Okay, and it hasn't slowed down. All right, Trump, he's the man of war. Okay, he said that he was a man of peace, but he's actually a man of war. He came in to do the bidding of Yahweh Bashmal Shai, and it's looking like he's going to be that guy. Okay, now it says America allies this is AI overview, like the assist. If you type in, this is DuckDuckGo, but it's pretty much the same thing. America's allies in the Middle East include Israel, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, the United States, the United Arab Emirates, and Turkey. These countries have varying degrees of military and strategic partners with the U.S. Yeah, the U.S. has a lot of bases in those areas where they're able to do strikes. They're able to do a lot of, they're able to encompass around Iran, just like you have American bases in Europe. Okay, under the disguise of NATO. Okay, where they're encompassing Russia, so they're able to strike with more lethal force, because they're a lot closer. You could do strategic strikes because you're right at their border. Okay, so America has all these Arab nations they're allies with these Arab nations, and they've been in bed. The Arab nations been in bed with Babylon the Great. But what you're starting to see, which they're not. Let's see this. Let's see. What you're starting to see is, I don't want that. These Arab nations start to have like they're starting to speak a different tune. Okay, they're starting to speak a different tune. Let's see what this is. Let's just see what this is. I don't like this. The website's all messed up, so we're not going to use that. Okay. American allied in the Middle East. I'm just Google a couple things. Turning on America. Let's just see. Yep. Right. Let's see this. Because there's you got the Middle East policy, but those Middle Eastern nations are starting to they're starting to see how wild America is. It's a lot too much reading. I don't want to go too deep. I'm just trying to see if I can catch some highlights. The competing tension in America's Middle East policy. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to go in. Yeah. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but basically the different allies in the Middle East, they're not dancing to the tune of America like they once were, which is going to backfire. According to Obadiah, where we're reading, that's part of it. It's going to backfire on America. So let me just go into it. I'll probably have to go into another lesson, but there's a lot of information on that. Okay, how those Middle Eastern nations, like it was a recent event where I forget what Arab nation did not allow America to use their airspace. I forget. Okay, but this let me go back and read in Obadiah. Obadiah 1 verse 7. All your allies will turn against you. Every last one of your allies. So we read America has a lot of allies, okay, in the Middle East. Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, Qatar, Kuwait. And they push a lot of oil through those straits. They get rich off of those straits. All right, but they've gotten rich because America was the hegemony of the global order. But now the global order is changing. Okay, you have BRICS, which is making up over 50% of the world's population is BRICS. So the nations are saying like, whoa, hold on, we don't have to deal with America. It says they will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Right? Because everybody has, suffered at the hands of Babylon the Great. The only reason why they're doing what you say, because you have military dominance over them. Let me, we'll come back here. Let me just hold it. Okay. Joel, the 3rd chapter. Okay. They're only doing what you say because they have military dominance. You have military dominance. But now they're starting to get the upper hand. It says they will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. See? Okay, another scripture, that are wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Because there's nothing but councils and summits and meetings of strategy of what to do. And you think that, because of all this hubris, all this pride, that you're untouchable. Meanwhile, these nations are working with China, working with Russia. They're doing backdoor deals, all to deceive you, all to get the upper hand on you. And that's what's going to happen. And American people don't know what's going on. Let's play a little bit more of this. I'm going to get Joel, the 3rd chapter, too.
Aircraft carriers now, which there are rumors there's going to be a 3rd one. I believe it's what
let's rewind it back a little.
HORMUZ for Iran just held. Here's a video. We don't have to watch it, but it can be playing as we're talking about it. So there's, Iran, as they were talking to the United States and Oman, were holding these drills. They closed the Strait of Hormuz for a period of hours. It seemed like a pretty stark message sent to the United States that this can happen. And they were utilizing their anti-ship missiles and other weapons that would be deployed, as you said, in terms of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's warning against these aircraft carriers now, which there are rumors there's going to be a third one. I believe it's the Ford that's heading there through the Mediterranean right now, heading toward it.
Right, and where's that information? I'm not sure if I saved it somewhere, but basically the Air Force now, let me look it up. There was like a lot of Air Force going to Iran. Let's see something. Right. U.S. Air Force. Okay, the U.S. Air Force has significantly increased its military presence near Iran, deploying over 50 fighter jets, including F-22s, F-35s, and F-16s, amid ongoing nuclear negotiations with Iran. So here it is. Meanwhile, while they're negotiating with Iran, there's been a heavy buildup of fighter jets and warships, essentially. And what different strategists or different commentators or analysts are saying, that really these talks are just smokescreen to get by more time in order to attack Iran. And they're saying within this weekend or within weeks, it could be this weekend. Okay, we don't know. Nevertheless, we know the scriptures say that there shall be wars and rumors of wars. Now, we know that the end is not very yet. And the way that it's looking is that they're preparing for a long, drawn-out war where it could be, several months where they're fighting, but no nuclear missiles are being shot off. Okay? Because we know that the RFID microchip has to be pushed, and they're going to push that in the midst of these things. So war is coming. This buildup is part of a broader strategy to prepare for potential military action if diplomatic efforts do not succeed. And it's like, why are they going there? There's really no clear explanation of why America's going, because it's always been a plan to go into Iran, but it's always been in the Most High's heart for America to go into Iran. Okay, this is all biblical prophecy. So what we're seeing is the scriptures manifest itself. Let's go back to the video.
Cyprus and Israel, and the Abraham Lincoln's already there outside of Oman. So talk about this, Charmaine. Like it seems like what we're dealing with is the U.S. is throwing all of its offensive power into the region, and Iran is saying that it has the ability to defend itself. What's real here? Because there are some analysts who are saying Iran is in big trouble now that they've been kind of lulled to sleep, while others are saying all of these assets are vulnerable no matter how much they build up there.
You mean Iranian assets are vulnerable, or U.S.?
No, that the U.S. assets are vulnerable.
Yeah, I keep going back like a broken record to the Millennium Challenge game of, I think it was the year 2000 or 2002. It was the most expensive U.S. war game that had ever been commissioned in history. I think it was well upward of $200 million. It was a 3-week scheduled game. They never named the red team, but it was understood to be a Persian Gulf nation adversary state, which was Iran. And within 48 hours of the game commencing, and this is with the U.S. taking out all Iranian communication systems, all right? Within 48 hours, the red team had taken out most of the blue team, the U.S.'s team's naval assets in the waterways around there. And it was so daunting to the organizers that they stopped the game and made some new rules and reset it, like to start over. But the red team colonel was so disgusted because this is not how you learn. You have to do war games in order to learn something about your adversary. He quit the game and went public with the information. This is how we know. But I wrote an article about it some years back, I think for the American Conservative, and I had people in the comments saying, I've run these war games and it's absolutely true. We either rig the game or, or cheat. So the U.S., I don't know. There's a lot of technology that we saw in the last 2 years. In the main, Israel's use of technology to kill widely, to kill.
America has a lot of surprises. Let's get that precept. America has a lot of surprises, a lot of things that are going to happen that these people are going to be, confused at. You got AI, robots, all type of different things. Could America have certain advantage over particular things? Yeah, absolutely. But we know ultimately that America loses. Okay, all these nations lose. Okay, and that's according to scriptures. Okay, let me get a couple of there's a lot of precepts coming in my mind. But let's go to Revelation 19. Okay, because what you're not going to hear from any of these analysts, okay, that look into these things that are very high level, whether they were ex-government, military, colonels, generals, okay, whatever it may be, that they're tapped in, they still have contacts within the military, they ran these drills. They're not taking into consideration that Yahweh Shai is coming. This is not in their mind. This is not in the people's minds. And we know that the elite are using these things, which really it's not the elite, it's the Most High. The Most High is using the elite, all right, to bring these people into this new system. Because you have to remember that the CHIP is coming. The CHIP will be implemented. Okay, we still have to see race wars. And it's not going to be one big race war. It's going to be multiple instances where people, race is going to be involved, people going back and forth. We have to see civil war. We have to see pestilence. We have to see more earthquakes. We have to see more commotions of the people. Second Ezra 15, Second Ezra 16. We have not fully stepped into Jacob's trouble yet. We are not in the hour of temptation yet. That hasn't happened yet. Okay, when that happens, things are going to move quick. It's going to be more, as you can see, more attention when he ran. It has not slowed down. It has only sped up. Okay, give me a second. All right. Revelation 19 and 11. It says, and I saw heaven open. See, so heaven open, meaning Yahweh Shai came through the fifth dimension with third dimension, fourth dimension. I believe the fifth dimension or the fourth dimension. Excuse me, I always forget. But basically, he came from the heavens, the dimension that we cannot see. That's there, that governs everything that's down here. Okay, that's all I got to say. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. Okay, and heaven is speaking about, basically the space. In space, okay? That white horse is speaking about righteousness, white, as well as the horse is speaking about power, which we know as the chariot. So John saw, and here it says the coming of, it says Christ, but we know the Messiah, okay, in the subtitle in the blue letter. So this is a future prophecy of the Messiah coming to our realm. And he that sat on him was called faithful and true. Okay, that's his title. Okay, faithful and true, because what? The things that he told his disciples, well, he is the book. He comes in the volume of the book. So everything that was written aforetime is actually manifesting now, and we have confidence that it's actually happening. And in righteousness, he does judge and make war. Now, what I want to do also is I want to go to 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. Bear with me. Okay? Because these people are not ready for what's getting ready to come. They're stuck on what if nuclear war happened, which is terrible. That's the terrible thing, and it is going to happen. People are going to be drafted. Okay? There's going to, young men are going to be drafted. Okay? You're going to have a complete collapse in society. We're going to digital currencies. When I just came from the airport, they already have facial recognition set up. All you got to do is look in the camera within like 2 seconds. It'll let you know who you are. So all those technologies are there. You have an option to show your digital ID there. You have the digital passport. So we're coming into a time of digital, technologies coming out, but they have to do that under the disguise of chaos. War is a great way of is a great excuse to bring in this order. It does a lot of different things. Well, war brings disease, more disease, less access to healthcare. Okay, and it brings famine. All right, you can cull a lot of people through war. Okay, you had World War One. It was right after the Spanish flu that supposedly killed millions, and then you already have the wicked elite saying that there's going to be another pandemic or COVID-like pandemic. So it's going to get worse before it gets worse. Okay, but Yahushua told us don't fear none of these things. Don't be troubled of these things. Okay, let me see where I want to start. You can really start. Let's start at the top. We'll read through it just a little bit. 2nd Ezra 13:1. And it came to pass after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I behold, and lo, that man waxed strong without the sea is talking about the heavens. Okay. That man waxed strong with with the thousands of heaven, because we know that Yahushua is coming with the angels, the mighty angels. Even Enoch prophesied of that. The Lord coming with 10,000s. Okay. Of the angels. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under. Yeah, because Yahushua is going to be in the fathership, controlling it through his mind, his spirit. All right. And wherever he looked, meaning wherever he set his focus on, things trembled. Okay. People are going to actually tremble and wail. It tells you that Revelation 1:7. All the kingdoms, all the kingdoms of the earth shall mourn. Okay, but it's going to go into more detail. Verse 4. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it fleeth the fire. Right, meaning what Ezra saw. Okay, John saw this too. What Ezra saw is fire, laser beams, which Esau has this technology too. Esau has this technology. He got laser beam technology. Well, they closed down. Let me just look that up again. Let me just give you a receipt. They closed down El Paso airport to test new technology. Let's see if it comes up. Supposedly they closed down the El Paso airport maybe a week or two. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay. El Paso airspace. Dispute over lasers and cartel drones. Which, hold on. I'm giving you a receipt. Esau has the laser technology. When you watch the Star Wars, well, that's technology from the Most High. That's concentrated fire. Yahushua is going to come with that power. The scriptures say what? Let me just bring that out real quick, and I'm all over the place. But the Lord's will, it's all coming together. Okay, Luke 12. All right, red letter. Luke 12 and 40. 9. I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? Like it's already started. Kindling is there to make the fire burn, to get the fire stronger. Yahweh Shai said he's coming, so fire's already it's already going to be hell on earth. Okay, Yahweh Shai is coming in the midst of that. Okay, with more fire, like Benjamin said, more fire, right? Esau has that technology. All right, the Most High gave him that technology so he can fight against the Most High or his son, and be destroyed. Now he sets up movies that he wins, Independence Day and all, shit like that, where he wins. Where that's a false prophecy. Like his movies are nothing other than his false visions. He has a television, right? And he wants people to believe that's the reality. No, that's not the reality. But this made news for a little bit, but it how Esau, he likes to put things in the news that he wants to put in. And so many things are happening. You miss one day, you missed a lot. So I'm going to read a little bit just to give you the evidence that Esau, he was testing lasers. Okay, and the Mexican drug cartel drones, that was just the excuse to shut down airspace to test these lasers because we're in a time of war. You're going to see more crazy things like that. Flights canceled, airspace, no fly zones. All right, curfews. You're going to have, the scripture said it. A man should desire to go into a city and should not be able. All right, you're going to have documentation, okay, to be able to go into these particular cities. Okay, because we're going to be in the height of war. How do I know who you are? How do I not know that you are not a sleeper cell agent of Iran? So now you can falsify documentation. Let me see your digital ID. Then you got to give them your digital. So just like the UK did, they made it mandatory to work in the UK. You must have a digital ID, and one of the excuses was to combat immigration. Okay, people being in a country that should not be in the country, which the people that are not in the country, they're deemed as enemies. Okay, this is from AP News, well-respected so-called news, right? Mainstream. The sudden and surprising airspace closure over El Paso, Texas, stemmed from the Pentagon's plans to test a laser for use in shooting down drones used by Mexican drug cartels. Right? That's the excuse. That's the excuse to bring in these technologies. There you go. I don't even need to say anymore. So Esau has these laser technologies. He been had them. He used it in Panama. Okay? When he went in and did a decapitation, basically strike in Panama, and he was testing those new weapons when he went into Venezuela. Yeah, they don't even. What about Maduro? Nobody even talks about Maduro no more. He just disappeared. He's out of the news. All right, now it's Iran, but they're not really covering Iran until they want to cover Iran for their particular uses, right? So we read that Yahweh Shai is coming to send fire. Okay, Yahweh Shai is coming to send concentrated fire, which is a laser beam. Okay, verse 4 in 2 Ezra 13 again, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it fleeth the fire, or filleth the fire, excuse me. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. So all these nations that have air forces, okay, well, the scriptures talk about the war in heaven. We can get that. Okay, Michael and his angels against the beast, or the dragon, excuse me, the dragon, it say the beast or the dragon. I'm going to hold that. Bear with me. Yeah, the dragon. Revelation 12. This is all the same vision. It's the same vision. All the prophets saw the same vision. They just saw different parts of the vision. Okay. Whether the beginning of the vision, middle of the end, or and they wrote it in what the Most High had them write it in their particular, like brothers do videos, right? Well, we can all do videos on a particular topic or event that happened, but each brother has a different perspective. So it's the same, but it's the same thing that happened. Okay, so each prophet had their own way in interpreting, okay, what they saw. Okay, so let me just bring this out. Revelation 12:7. And there was war in heaven. The same thing that we're reading in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. Okay. Now, I'm bringing all this up because you have these nations, they're so worried about themselves and fighting each other, that in the midst of all that, the Yahushua is going to come. And I believe it was it Ronald Reagan? He had that speech. Let me see if I can find it. I'm all over the place, I know. But let me just see. We jumping. I think it was Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan. And was it alien speech? Yeah, alien threat speech. This is what we're gonna listen to this. This is basically they know. Meanwhile they're preparing to fight against Yahushua. Okay, they're preparing, and the scripture's going to go into that, and we just kind of read it vaguely how they're going to try to stop the man that they saw. Let me just read that part again in 2nd Ezra 13. Then we're going to go to Revelation 12 too. It goes into it's going into the same thing. Okay. Yeah. 2nd Ezra 13. Right. And 5. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number, namely the dragon. Okay. America. You have the different EU nations. Russia's not the dragon, but anybody that has those military forces that can, fighter jets, namely the dragon. Okay, which is the old ancient Roman Empire coming back in the form of NATO, America, and the EU, from the four winds of heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. The sea is not actually talking about the actual sea water. The sea is talking about space. Okay, the heavens. Okay, because all the heavens or spaces is just it's made up of the same compound as water. Okay, so let's listen to this speech.
And more secure for you and your children. I couldn't help at one point in my discussions privately with General Secretary Gorbachev, when you stop to think that we're all God's children wherever we may live in the world, I couldn't help but say to him,
and what God are they talking about? They're not talking about the Most High God, Yahweh. Okay, because in order for you to proclaim you're one of his children, wouldn't you have to follow the instructions? If your father laid down particular rules for you to follow, and he gave you clear explanation of what to do, and then you don't do that, how could you claim that you're his son? How can you claim that you're his child? No, you're not my child. My child would do this, this, and that. So Esau, you go into Psalms, the 50th chapter goes into that, how he hateth instruction.
Think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held. If suddenly there was a threat to this world.
See, listen to that. If suddenly there was, why would he just say that? This went over a lot of people's head.
I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held. If suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet.
Yeah. That's when they saw this man. They saw this the white horse coming out of heaven, coming out of the seas, and you see how he smiled. Some alien. Alien just means foreign. They know Yahushua is coming. They know. The elites know. They've been briefed.
To this world from some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe, we'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries, and we would find out once and for all that we really are all human beings here on this earth together.
See, and that's going to be one of the main excuses to bring everybody together under the NWO. All right, but it's all going to fail. It's a big mess. It's all going to fail. And ultimately, all you nations are going down. But let's go back to 2nd Ezra's, the 13th chapter, because that's what it's talking about. They know. The wicked elite, they know. Okay, and it's been passed down for, these different presidents to say particular things. Well, under Trump, you had the UFO files started to be released. Okay, and there's files that hidden classified documents within all these different Russia and all that. They all seen these things, but it's mainly concentrated here in Babylon the Great. Okay, because that's where the destruction is going to happen, and ultimately that's where the angels are orchestrating all these things. Okay, the elite, again, we say, oh, the elites are doing, yeah, they're in control of certain things, but they are not in control. The Most High is in control. He's controlling everything. Bear with me 1 second. Just give me one moment. Okay, Slakia. The most high, Yahweh Shema Shai, he is in control. He is orchestrating everything. All right, and everybody's getting ready to find out that he was moving the whole. He was moving all the chess pieces. Esau think he's moving the chess pieces. The wicked elite, we're gonna do this. Yeah, have them fight. Man, I'm gonna do this. Attack Iran, and then we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna put in curfews, and we're gonna bring the chip in, and everybody's gonna merge with AI, and then we're gonna roll the robots out, and Then no, stop it. Was it Michael? Where am I at? Yep. Let me read verse 5 again. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. This is what Ronald Reagan was speaking about. Wouldn't we stop everything and come together? That's what happened. They did. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. Now, it wasn't an actual mountain. It was a super huge chariot. But in his terminology, all he can say was a mountain. Okay, which also a mountain represents government too. Okay, but this was it wasn't an actual mountain. What we could do is we can go to Daniel. All the prophets saw the same thing. 2. Daniel 2. Bear with me. Daniel 2 and 40. I started 44. And in the days of these kings shall the Most High of heaven set up a kingdom. This is what's getting ready to happen. Which shall never be destroyed. This kingdom is going to be destroyed. This hegemony is going to be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, meaning it's going to be for Israel. Like right before Yahushua went up to the heavens, the disciples said what? Will at this time restore the kingdom to Israel? Because we were promised the rulership of the planet Earth. But as it stands, we do not have rulership of the planet Earth. Okay, but it's as we get closer to this war, as we get closer to the MOTB, we can taste it. We see that it's getting ready to be set up. But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Those kingdoms, speaking about when Daniel, he interpreted a vision that Nebuchadnezzar had. And it was basically the major kingdoms that were going to be set up throughout history that was going to rule the earth. Okay, and we're in that last kingdom where the feet of of iron and miry clay. Okay. For as much, which is Rome coming back in the form of America, NATO, and the EU. For as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hand. So Daniel is seeing the same thing that Ezra saw. Okay, it's the same thing. He saw a huge chariot, and that it break in pieces the iron, the iron, okay, was Rome, the brass, Greece, okay, the clay, which is the NATO, the EU, okay, America, because you have the iron and the clay mix, the silver, the Medo-Persian, and the gold which was Babylon. The great power has made known to the king, because within an alliance of the new Roman Empire coming back, you have nations that are strong, and you have nations that are weak. Like, for example, Italy. Italy is part of that, right? Italy is weak, is a weak nation. France is a weak nation. Germany is a strong nation. Okay? It says, has made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. This is talking about the latter days, which we're experiencing this now. And the dream is certain, in the interpretation, therefore sure. So that's what's going to happen. And that's what's happening. And we're reading about it, and we're actually seeing what's actually happening right now. Okay? Let's go back to 2 Ezra 13. Okay, so that mountain, let me read verse 6, because it said he flew upon it. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. Okay, it's an actual chariot. They show you that in those movies. But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not, because it wasn't an actual mountain, and it was so big he couldn't even see the whole thing. So if something like that comes into, if something like that comes into, our dimension, these nations are gonna bug the hell out. Right, but the Most High is still gonna put the spirit on them to shoot all their missiles on Babylon the Great. Okay. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yes, durst fight. Okay, so they are going to join together. They're going to stop fighting each other for a moment, and they're going to try to fight the Lord and the angels, and they're going to be afraid. They're going to be fearful. Okay, but the Most High is going to put the spirit on them to fight. And lo, as he saw it, and they probably going to have to chip in them. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, because everything's going to be controlled by his mind, by his spirit. That's the upgraded body that we are going to obtain if we continue. Okay, well, all Israel's going to get it eventually, but that's the body that we're going to obtain, where we can do things with our mind. We don't need to lift up sword. We don't need it. We can just in our mind think it, and it happens. That's the power Yahweh Shai has. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth the chariot, as it had been a blast of fire, the laser beam, and out of his lips a flaming breath, the laser beam, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests that concentrated fire. He just thought, boom, 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 hit that person, hit that building, And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flame of breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight, and burned them up, every one. So it's going to be a complete, utter, one-hit knockout. He just going to zap them all. Which was prepared to fight, and burned them up, every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived. So you had an innumerable multitude of individuals trying to fight the Lord, and then boom, instantly gone. But only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So Ezra was like, whoa, hold on. Right, 2 Ezra 16, he says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those times? Because up until that, Yahweh Shai is coming to send fire, but the fire is already going to be here. Okay? fire is already going to be here. I'm done there. We go on to more. Oh, no. Let me, no. Hold on. Bear with me. Bear with me. Let me find that scripture. Shit bugging out. Excuse me. Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah. I'm jumping down. Verse 29. You can go more into it, but we just gonna go, we jumping down. I'm gonna start at 29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. So we read about a great destruction happening, but also there's going to be a great deliverance. That's the elect. You have to be an Israelite, and you have to be the Israelite of the Most High. And Jacob's going to see this, man. Jacob's going to see this and be terrified. Like you had that old video of Jake seeing chariots. Somebody call the police. Okay, 1 second. Right? Verse 30. And give me 1 second. Salakia. Salakia. Got a lot of things going on right now. Okay. Verse 30. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. Now, I went into all this because of all these people that talk about the war and they can bring out particular things and they talk, it's inevitable. And they don't even know how bad it's going to get. Okay, number one. They don't know how bad it's going to get. It's going to change the earth forever. But they're not even considering Yahushua or who they call Jesus Christ. They don't even believe in that. They don't even believe in that. And the Christians that believe so-called that Jesus Christ is coming, they're not ready when their so-called Jesus Christ, which is not really Jesus Christ, it's Yahushua. They're not ready for Yahushua, so-called black man, angry man, coming to shoot laser beams to destroy them. So could you imagine the fear and the mixed emotions? Well, in Isaiah 13 chapter, they shall be amazed. Everyone let me get that. Okay, it's going to get worse before it gets worse. I'm just going to get to the point. Isaiah 13 and 7. Therefore, I got to read 6. How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. The Most High, Yahweh Shema Shai, he's the one that's setting all these things up. He's the one that's orchestrating these things. The elites are not in control. They are being controlled. And I was meditating the other day. I was like, man, I was watching a particular video. I was watching a Professor Jang. He goes, he's okay. He can say particular things. He can articulate particular topics and, particular things. You probably heard about the Moabite dude, breaks down particular things. He talks about game theory, but ultimately he's bugged out because he does not have the mysteries. Okay. And people are looking like, wow, he's breaking these things down. Now it reminded me of, was it Isaiah the 19th chapter where it speaks about, how they shall seek the charmers and familiar spirits, and wizards. People are trying to figure out, you got the Epstein files coming out and all their favorite politicians and world leaders and kings and princes and entertainers and, so-called, they all been, associated with, PDF files and trafficking and drinking of blood and all type of crazy. So the people are like, whoa, what the hell is going on? So they're trying to find an answer and they're turning to people that sound good, but ultimately they do not have the breakdown. Okay, the Most High, he gave the breakdown to the Israelites, starting with the elect. Okay, we have the mysteries. Okay, so that's we're in a very blessed and privileged position, and this is why brothers got to take this thing serious. Okay, there's a certain way you treat your brother. I mean, that's another video, but there's a certain way that you function within this body, because what the Most High has given us is precious, and you must stay diligent too. Verse 7, therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. Yeah, because they're gonna see this terrible vision. Okay, that's gonna become, they're gonna actually see this terrible reality. Okay, they're gonna see this terrible reality which the prophets had visions of, and it's gonna be real. Yahweh Shai, the mighty angels, and he's gonna be a so-called black man. That's gonna freak him out. It was an alien. Now it's Jake. He gonna look just like Jake. The same ones you call niggas, and you gotta pay for that. And we're reading about their payment. See, the Most High is gonna pay them back. All this shit y'all been talking, the Most High has heard this. Okay, you Moabites, all you nations. Okay, the Most High has heard it. So you're gonna be caught up in this, and they shall be afraid. So you're gonna, not only you're gonna see the chariots, you're gonna see how shy. People are gonna be getting zapped, concentrated fire. You got Leviathan, you got these different wild beasts, and then you actually have the nuclear missiles that are coming. That's it, bro. That's it. Now it's just you getting burned up. Pains and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed. This the point that I wanted to get. We can continue to keep going. But it says, they shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flame. Yeah, because they're going to be on fire. But let me go. Let's see what that word amazed. Okay. Thama. To be astounded, be stunned, amazed, be dumbfounded. See? Dumbfounded. Everybody thought that they knew. To be astonished one at another. But this word, astounded, right? So just hold off on that. Just bear with me. Let's go to the next precept in 2nd Ezra. Okay. Right? I'm gonna read 29 again. 2nd Ezra 13 and 29. Behold, the days come then when the Most High will begin to deliver them that dwell upon the earth. And he shall come to the astonishment, see, to be astounded. The of them that dwell upon the earth, meaning amazed. They're going to be amazed. They're going to be dumbfounded. And one shall undertake to fight against another. One city against another. One place against another. That's what we're seeing now. That's what the buildup is now. So I reference race wars. You're gonna have class wars. Okay, you're gonna have civil wars. Right? You got the scriptures talk about how friends shall fight against each other. Neighbors shall fight against each other. Families shall fight against each other. One people against another. Nation states fighting against each other, right? And one realm against another. This is what Ronald Reagan was speaking about in that speech. Okay? Was realm against realm. Okay? None of these analysts, none of these YouTubers, none of these what do you call it? Truthers. They don't know this. They don't know this. Neither are they going to be delivered by any. Neither are they going to be delivered when these things happen. Okay, and you better not be in America. Okay. Revelation 12. Revelation 12 and 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. So, John just basically, he summed it up what Ezra's went into more detail with. And that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. Okay, everybody has that covering cast over them. And that's why I reference Isaiah the 19th chapter, where they're trying to find the truth, and they're seeking to people that can, intellectual and do, is it witchcraft? Is it tarot card reading? We need to be spiritual. Is it, doing meditation? Like the Professor Jane, he did a video, Secrets to the Universe, and he's telling people how to. And when you listen to enough of his lectures, he doesn't actually know what he's talking about, and he'll say that I actually don't know. But he talks with authority like he does know, and he's telling people to do psychedelics. This is how you connect to the divine. This is how you connect to consciousness. You could do psychedelics. You could meditate. You can fast. Nah, bro, that's not no. You have to be chosen by Yahweh Shemashai for him to deliver these secrets unto you, man. Okay, you can't go another way. Actually, going another way is witchcraft. Trying to connect to the Most High by taking magic mushrooms, peyote, and ayahuasca. That's witchcraft. Which those things are down here for a particular reason, but Esau and these other nations, they're bugged out on the different things that the Most High has created, and they use it to connect to what they believe the Most High is. Okay, the Spirit has to choose you. Okay, the Spirit has to choose you to receive this. Okay, verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength. So after this damn devil is destroyed completely, within that simultaneously the elect are beamed up. That's the salvation. Okay? It's over. It's done. The war is done. And the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. So Esau is destroyed. Okay? Because we'll go on to Matthew 24 and 24. No, it's 24 and 22, where no flesh shall be saved. If the Lord was not to intervene, they would just destroy each other. Just nuclear missiles, mutual assured destruction. America shoot their missiles, Russia shoot their missiles, Iran shoot their missiles, China shoot their missiles. Everybody's done. Everybody's finished. So Yahweh Shai has to intervene. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. All right, and this is why we're able to be adopted back, reconciled back with the Heavenly Father through the blood of the Lamb, which is Yahweh Shai. And it wasn't spilt for everybody. And by the word of their testimony, which is this word, the spirit of prophecy, the words that we're actually speaking, they cannot be that's not condemned by the Most High. Now, man is going to try to condemn it, but we are going to be found with no guile. We're going to be found justified in the eyes of the Heavenly Father and worthy to be saved. Lord's will, we continue to the end. And they love not their lives unto the death. Okay? So regardless if you come and take us out, that doesn't matter. We don't care about our lives. You can't. There's certain men you can't buy off. That's what the Lord told Elijah. I have 7,000 men that would not bow down to the image of Baal. Okay, the Most High, he has ordained these men. He has set these men separate. Okay, and their families and certain particular people, even women that are not going to bow down to the image of the beast to take his MAR to decay. Okay, which is the RFID microchip. Now I was going to get Joel the 3rd chapter, but we'll end it there. Okay. It's going to get bad before it gets bad. It's going to get worse before it gets worse. Okay. Now we understand that, yeah, these things are going to happen. They said war is inevitable. We've been telling that. That's prophetic. Now they just don't understand how to tie it back to the scriptures. And what I'm seeing now is more people are starting to try to, interpret the scriptures, going to scriptures that they never did, been in, and try to become religious, but y'all ain't got it. Okay, just leave that to the prophet. So until next time, shalom to the elect.